Hello, welcome back. So today, I'm gonna guide you through making a simple buttermilk loaf. So, bread. You might think it's hard to make, but I'm gonna show you it doesn't have to be. So before you start, what you'll need is 5 cups of bread flour. That's about 695 grams, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, 1 package dry yeast, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of buttermilk, 1/3 of a cup of butter, 1 beaten egg on the side, some optional sesame or poppy seeds, and 2 8.5 by 4.5 loaf pans, or just 1 baking sheet nicely greased with butter. Okay then, so time to get started. Now, you can use all-purpose flour for this, but I would highly recommend using bread flour. It's gonna have the protein necessary to make a nicer, stronger bread. Oh yeah, I used King Arthur flour. They're my personal favorite. By the way, I'm not actually sponsored. Though, if you want to sponsor me, King Arthur, wink wink, hit me up. So, what do we do to begin? You're gonna take 2 cups of your flour, and you're gonna put it in a big mixing bowl, along with the rest of your dry ingredients. Your yeast, your sugar, all the dry ingredients with 2 cups of flour in your mixing bowl. After that, you're gonna take your wet ingredients and put them on a saucepan on the stove. You're not looking to melt the butter in there or anything. You just wanna get everything nice and warm, because the yeast likes it better when it's warm. That's how it grows. So, once your mixture's warm to the touch, not too hot now, you're gonna slowly mix it into your flour. Those 2 cups, remember? And just go about 2 minutes. Then, add another cup of flour and mix it another 2 minutes until you have a nice thick batter. Alright, now is where the real elbow grease starts coming in. Because you're gonna gradually start working in the rest of your flour until you've got a nice, smooth dough ball that isn't too sticky and pulls away nicely from the bowl. You're gonna just have to beat it with that spoon, or just get dirty and stick your hands in there. Make sure you wash them first. This is where a stand mixer can come in real handy, by the way. I always highly recommend them. Now, you can get a pretty cheap one on Amazon for a decent price. They've got a pretty wide range of prices to fit most budgets. But a stand mixer is only ever a shortcut. We're gonna make it by hand this time, so we're not gonna need it. But definitely look into one if you can. I highly recommend it. You won't regret it. Okay, so back to our bread. Once that's done, you're gonna turn it out into a greased bowl. So make sure it's a big bowl. And you're gonna cover it tightly with some plastic wrap. Then stick it somewhere warm and let it rise for about an hour until it's doubled in size. Okay, so once it's doubled in size, you're gonna take it from your bowl and dump it onto a floured work surface. From there, you're gonna punch the daylights out of it. No, but seriously, you need to punch the air out of it. We're gonna punch that air out of it, and then it's gonna rise again a second time. Don't want too many big air bubbles. What this does is it helps build the gluten in there, so you get a nice structure inside. So, take it out, punch it down, punch the air out of it, and then you're gonna cut it in half into 2 equal dough balls. Okay, now here's where you can go 2 ways with this. If you're using bread pans, you can just tuck the cut side underneath and make it into a nice oblong shape. Shape nice into an oblong that'll fit snugly in your bread pan. Otherwise, if you just want to make like a baguette type of deal, then you just gotta roll between your hands and make a nice little sausage, about as long as you think will fit on your tray anyway. Then, you're gonna cover it again. Once you have it all set up, you're gonna cover it again, and you're gonna put it back in your warm place for about another 45 minutes. The bread, if you're using a bread pan, will have risen about an inch above the top of the mold. Otherwise, if you're just making a baguette, it will have about doubled in size. So make sure you space them appropriately if you're using both in the same tray. Okay, so you've got your bread, it's risen, it's ready to go in the oven. But before you do that, remember I mentioned an egg, right? So this is where you can brush the top of the loaf with some of that egg. That'll give it a nice golden shine to it. So do that if you like. You don't have to. And then, again, you don't have to. You You can sprinkle some seeds on top, like poppy seeds or sesame seeds. I think that gives it a nice little something extra. Okay, so let's talk oven. What you're gonna do is when it's doing that second rise, about 20 minutes in, is turn your oven on, set it to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then, once it's preheated and you've got your loaf ready to go, you're gonna stick it in there and let it bake for about 40 minutes or until it's got a nice golden brown color on it. So, here's a tip, by the way. Once your bread comes out, if you're not sure that it's done yet, you can turn it over carefully and tap the bottom with your finger. If it sounds hollow, it's good to go. So, once your bread is done, take it out and let it rest there a little bit, just so the moisture on the inside and outside equalizes a little bit. And there you have it. A wonderfully delicious loaf of bread. I highly recommend it for breakfast with some butter. Or at lunch in a sandwich. It's good for that too. I think you'll like it. It's really tasty. It isn't hard to make a simple bread. It just takes a little bit of time. You definitely need to be a bit patient. Now, let's talk tips. If you're using a packet of fast rising yeast, you can cut those rising times about in half. Otherwise, you're gonna get too many air bubbles. Also, if you're baking this in the fall or the winter and you don't have any warm spots in your home, try this trick. So, you take the oven and you're gonna set it to the lowest temperature it'll go. Mine goes to about 175, the lowest. So, you're gonna put it to that, you're gonna let it warm up a little bit, and then you turn the oven off and you open the door, let some of that heat out. You don't want it too hot in there after all. Once it's nice and warm in there, but not too hot, you can stick your bread in there to rise. I think that's a really neat trick, and it worked for me. It's what I had to do. There you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. Sorry I didn't actually make the bread with you. Elfmom's kitchen needs a little bit of work before I can actually cook in it. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you follow the instructions, it should work out. I will try and put out a nice printed version of it along with the video. So, hope you enjoyed that. I'll try and make more baked goods like bread going forward. I know a lot of you wanted that quite a while ago, so I'm sorry. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.